What's up, HVAC crew? Welcome back to another episode of HVAC R&D with Ride to Dennis. We're very happy to have a special guest with us this evening. We will introduce her very shortly. So, without any further ado, let's get it going.
Yeah, come on. All right, so welcome back, HVAC crew. We got a pretty good show coming on tonight. We got a guest that we've been following on Instagram. She's an Instagram sensation. I got a funny little story about my daughter. My daughter's 10, and I was showing her, and she's like, "You know what? I think I want to get into HVAC, actually." So if that tells you anything about what she's doing on Instagram, it's pretty great. So welcome to the show, HVAC Jess.
Thank you so much.
I feel like I need to do that. Not your real name, right? It's just
totally
HVAC
fine.
Jess.
Yep. People know me as HVAC Jess now.
There you go. So yeah, I was showing my daughter the other day. I just took her through the whole story, right? Just skip through all your posts, and she's like, "God, that looks so much fun." She's like, "It looks a little cold though." I was like, "Yeah, well, she's in a little colder climate than us. It's 70 here in South Carolina in January, or almost January." So yeah, tell us a little bit about, I know you've been on a couple shows, and I don't want to, have you give us your whole story, but just a little bit about how you kind of got into this.
Okay. So my story goes like this. My dad has always been in HVAC, refrigeration. He's always been a refrigeration mechanic. And then my brother followed in his footsteps right after high school, and I didn't. I went to university, got an office job like it was expected. And then finally, in my mid-30s, I had an opportunity to join the family business where I started in the office. And then it was really more about not knowing the words, the jargon. Like, I always say this, and I think it's hilarious to me now, but back then it was a serious thing. Like, I had no idea the difference between a compressor or a condenser or a capillary tube or a contactor, or, all of these C words that sound sort of similar.
Right?
Yeah. And I'm like, why does this one cost so much? Why does this one take so long to install? And then not only that, was my dad and my brother came back to the office. Well, these tales of their adventures, like they'd seen all these cool, interesting things and these people. And it's like, why do I have to sit behind a computer all day? This sucks. So I asked them if I could go on a couple of ride-alongs, just kind of get an idea for their day. And I loved it so much that I would rather be out of the office than in. And I would just squirrel away all of my bookkeeping and all of my admin stuff and do it in the evenings and weekends. And then because I was spending so much time with my dad in the field, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to register as an apprentice and make this official. So, yeah, there we are.
Now, when you say the register as apprentice, I've been curious kind of how that works. Because here, like, correct me if I'm wrong, Dennis, but I grew up, my dad was a contractor in North Carolina, so I've been around it since he could stick me in a work truck and force my labor.
Right.
But, for us, if we wanted to take the test, we didn't ever have like an apprentice registration. We just had to prove hours of time in the field in order to go take our test. And then
Well, I
North
think
Carolina's got different levels. So
yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Of course, it depends on. It could be company related too, right? Like, you go to HVAC school for 18 months or 2 years, you get out. It depends on the company. You could go to work for a large company and they start you out as an apprentice, right? You do, like around here, it's warranty tech, right? You change filters, you clean the outdoor unit, check the capacitor, give it a once over, basically just routine
but we
maintenance.
don't have like a formal registration, like we're apprentice level this, and then
No,
I'm understanding,
not that I know of. No.
Do you work your way like from 3-2-1, or how does that work on your side, Jess?
So for us, there's 4 levels, and the way I do it is I'll be working in the field, and then I'll do the first level is about 6 weeks in class, at full-time school, and then you're back in the field, and then for me, the wait time between actual technical trainings is quite a long time. So that's why it's taking me so long. It's probably going to take me about 5 or 6 years in the end to be fully qualified. So each level has its own amount of registered, apprentice hours that you need to log. And so at the end of the day, after all of my 4 levels, I have to have logged 7,200 hours and also passed all of my 4 level exams with 70% or higher. And then at that point, I can apply and write my Red Seal exam, which is it's like the major qualification in Canada. I can use it across any province.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, it's very strict and rigid.
It sounds I like it.
I do too, because you actually have to prove, I feel like you have to prove competency more. Now, and school is intense. It is really intense. And I really think that people need to do that schooling part. I have lots of friends on Instagram and they're like, oh, I never did the school part. What?
Well, yeah, that's here.
And that's here. And that's why it's so interesting to hear you say that, because my next question to follow that is, is everything that you do in your training, is it purely technical, or do they sprinkle in, well, you're going to need, this is your business portion of your training. No. You have to, and see,
no business training.
And see, half of the tests now in our state, actually almost more than half of it now, is based around business training, that if you can pass that, you can almost skip the technical side of it and you can get a license and not know a damn thing.
That's crazy.
Well, even our license test, it's a 4-hour test. 50, there's 50 questions that are business. And, it gets into like workman's comp and all this. But on the test side, it's a lot of codes, right? How far apart are hangers on a gas line? And once again, there might be 3. When I took it, there was I remember having 3 refrigeration questions, what is what is superheat? And I'm like, what? And then so
ours gets really technical. Ours is label the parts of a solenoid valve, or it's just so technical, and I think it's great because it gives you really an understanding of the inner workings of things like motors and things like that. But it's for me, that's the hardest part, is that remembering that, just cramming that information into your brain and trying to recall it when the question gets asked on the exam. Is it normally open? Is it normally closed?
Yeah, what a concept. Are y'all listening, guys, to this?
No, I'm sitting here okay.
All right. So
yes.
So that being said, we jumped right into it. Sorry, we didn't really get a good intro here.
This is good conversation.
So typically we do a little catch up, right? And we kind of go over what we're drinking. I don't know what you're drinking, Jess. You want to get into that?
I got a good one.
Uh-oh. All right.
Should I tell you what it is right
Is
now?
it milk or?
It is not milk.
It's not-
It is not
Okay.
milk. It is
Okay.
not. It is kombucha. So I chose
Oh.
to drink a kombucha today because that is one of my favorite drinks. And this particular one is a watermelon and mint, and it is just glorious.
Ooh, I do like me some kombucha.
Yes.
I haven't had any in a while. It's a really good. That's good for you.
Yeah, you haven't really had
Clean
any that I
out.
can remember you talking about since you got some from that guy that worked part time at the brewery.
Yeah. So we had a guy. There's a lot to that. That drink. We had a guy that worked for us that helped his buddy. His buddy started a brewery in Charlotte, and you may have to help me on this. I don't know if you're a connoisseur, but there's like a mother that you
Oh, yes.
you have to make it right. So he's
Yeah.
kept this for I don't know how many years to
Wow.
produce. Yeah, and he brought me a case in, and of course my wife was like, "No, I am not drinking that."
Really?
Well, it was I don't know, maybe
That's
his
funny.
wasn't that great, but I mean, some of it's pretty stout.
Yeah.
The flavor.
So I used to make it myself at home, actually before I was an HVAC apprentice. I just do not have the time for it right now, but I used to make it at home, and it was the most beautiful thing. Like, it's basically tea, and
Right.
that mother that you talk about, it's actually an acronym. It's called SCOBY, and it's
Okay.
what is it? A systematic culture of bacteria and yeast
Cultures. Right.
cultures.
There
Yeah.
you go.
And so it forms this thing as the bacteria and yeast eat the sugar inside the tea it forms this like hard cellulose thing, and that's like the byproduct of it. And then what you get underneath is beautiful effervescent kombucha that is just the most glorious thing on. Yes, I was so proud
Yeah,
of the
I liked
kombucha
it.
I made, but it was time consuming. Got to
Now
chop
is-
up the little pieces of fruit and bottle them all at the right time, because otherwise, if you miss it, it goes sour, and yeah.
Yeah, so him selling that is what allowed him to open the brewery itself.
That is so
like,
cool.
That's
I
his
didn't know that
biggest-
part of the story. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's his biggest thing, and then he just now he has that and beer. So
Now, Jess, I have to ask: is the knowing how to make homemade kombucha, is that, or I probably just butchered saying that, but
No, you're good.
is that a learned it because you're South African and now in Canada thing? Which that one I'm still want to know how that happened.
No.
But
Okay. No. It just happened because kombucha was very trendy a couple of years ago, maybe 5
true.
years.
That's true.
Very trendy. And I fell in love with it. And I know it's a bit of an acquired taste, but I fell in love with it. And I was spending like $4 a bottle on it, and just kind of learned it on the internet and gave it a try, and it just worked. It was one of those
Yeah,
things that
something
just
like
worked.
yeah, like moonshine. Everybody's like, I gotta just make that.
Absolutely. And then it's a little hobby of yours, and then you get really proud of what you've made.
Right? So what are
my
you
dad
drinking,
was
Ryden?
spicy. So I actually have two different ones tonight. Same brewery, but two different ones. So, Boojum Brewery is a nice little place, not far from where I grew up, in Waynesville, North Carolina. And the one I'm working on right now is a Hounds of Hellas, which is a Munich lager. And then I have, for next round, as we get further in this conversation, we have their, I guess it would be their winter sour ale, I'm guessing, is a Bramblewood or Brambleberry Goose sour ale, which is a raspberry and blackberry sour. And it
Yeah,
is
so Ryden's his
good.
drinks are
Sounds
always
fancy.
I know, right? Like all his drinks, I'm like, I'm drinking bourbon. Like that's all I got.
I do that a lot too.
It's Willet bourbon. It's good bourbon, but yeah, he says those, and I get hungry listening to just him tell the names of his drinks.
That's funny.
All right, so how was your Christmas? Good Christmas?
Yeah, a pretty good Christmas. Fairly quiet. It was nice.
Yeah, I know I don't know about up there, but the little COVID bug is kind of getting around again. And I'm in South Carolina. We're already getting emails from the school, and I was
Yeah.
kind of glad to see my brother and my dad came down and get to see them before that whole thing happens again. I feel
Again,
like we're
yeah.
headed towards that again.
I know.
Makes me nervous for Vegas. Makes me very nervous.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we got a lot of that coming up, a lot of travel coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know flights are getting canceled left and right. I
Fun
know our
times.
work. We have a get together for our work on the distribution side, our end of the year kind of thing. Everybody meets up, and it's up in the air still. I don't know if they've pulled the trigger on that, but so we haven't even said where you're at. I mean, everybody should know, but where are you located exactly?
I am in Vancouver, BC. Actually, I'm in a little bit of a suburb of Vancouver called Port Coquitlam.
Okay.
Yeah, but I basically live in Vancouver, and it is a beautiful city.
So I am in my little neighborhood, the guys I play golf with. So I am in the Canadian Loop. I am the only, Southern guy they let come play golf with them. So I play golf with 3 hockey players. One's from, actually, 2 of them are from, I knew I was going to forget this. What's the little island up there?
Victoria?
No, God, I just drew a blank. It's
Insert Oak Island joke here.
yeah. So anyway, they all got their citizenship last year. They live in my neighborhood. Great guys.
Oh, very good.
I think it was funny when we were like the day before they were taking their test, they were quizzing all of us with the citizenship stuff, and this is stuff I learned in the 5th grade. So
yeah.
we were terrible. Like we had no idea any of the answers. I felt, of course, riding being the history major would probably kill it, but
I probably wouldn't anymore.
Newfoundland. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, okay. That's on the other side of the country for me.
Totally other side. Yeah, I mean, just way out there.
I'd love to visit there. It looks so pretty.
Yeah,
Actually, did I tell you? Which I don't think anyone's listening to this is going to care. But my nephew's moving to Nova Scotia.
Ooh.
Oh wow!
Supposedly, which I thought was random. But
actually, there was an article that came out a couple days ago saying that Nova Scotia is the new big trendy place to go. I think they just passed 1 million people that live there, population. Yeah, it's a growing place.
Well, and his wife is I don't even know exactly the right term for it. She's a hell of a lot smarter than me. She's a doctor. She's about to finish her doctorate, and for her, I think she's actually going to be a neurosurgeon.
Oh wow!
But for her, like, she can actually make way better money as a neurosurgeon in Canada than she can here.
Interesting.
By a landslide.
You know what? She'll probably do that for a couple years, and then she'll get into HVAC.
Probably.
You never know.
I mean, yeah, that seems to be the trend right now.
Right? All right,
Why not?
So we'll get into some HVAC here. So I don't know if you've noticed, but it seems to be the trend of not only women getting into HVAC or blue collar jobs as far as that goes. I follow a ton of girls on Instagram that are like working on cars, and that whole thing is just, I love that. I've never understood the whole separation there anyway, but it is what it is. But what are you seeing up there as far as just, I mean, the trade industry is such on the struggle bus right now.
And if we had to ask the right person, we asked the right person.
Right. Yeah, I mean, what are y'all? I don't know about your company, your dad's company, as far as growing and trying to find people, but what are you seeing up there as far as young kids getting into the trade and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's following everywhere, really, the trend. It's hard to get people to get into the trades, and then hard to get them to stay, it seems. My dad's business is very small. It's just the three of us. So my dad, myself, and my brother. And for us, as long as my dad is running the show, I don't really see us growing. Although once he has probably retired eventually and my brother and I take over, I think we would like to grow. But the general feeling I hear around is that people are hard to find, employees are hard to find, and they're hard to keep. And it confuses me because trade school is so in such demand. So for example, I did my level 2 in March of this year, and I am not able to go into my level 3 until November of 2022. So there's a huge gap of time between, and that's because there's a wait list. People want these courses.
Wow.
But then there's no people to hire. I don't understand.
It's weird.
And what I would say though is compared to about 10 years ago is that there's so much more competition now. Back about 10 years ago, there was definitely vans on the road. Like you would see HVAC vans all over the place. But now you see them every second car. Like I feel like all of the larger companies have maybe broken down into like a man with a van type situation.
Yeah, I have heard that they're getting bought out, right? Yeah. I've heard that's a new thing. It's just investors buying up companies and doing that whole thing.
Now, my question though, and I wonder this at times too, do you also feel you see more competition because in the last decade there's been such a shift in how we go to market and how much more money has been spent in marketing dollars by heating their businesses to try to get their name out there?
I would say for sure. Yes.
10 years ago, or, even when I was still in the field
well, your dad, Ryden, still doesn't advertise.
No, I mean, he doesn't, but I'm saying
80 years in the industry.
I know, but he doesn't have to. He has that classic
well, they don't.
rainbow rood sign that just brings the business. But no, I never noticed vans the way I do now. Like even when I first went to college in Asheville, like I didn't see heat and air vans. I drive through Asheville now and I see 20. Now, some of that is because professionally it is my job to look for HVAC vans now. So I spot them in my sleep, but it's a huge difference from the way it was before. Like you never saw people spend the marketing money they do now to try to build leads and build business. It's a different animal altogether.
Yeah. But I also think social media has got a bit of that as well. Cause
Correct.
I think a lot of techs now are realizing that if they take pride and they show what their craft, people notice that.
Oh yeah. I mean, especially social media on Instagram, I'll look on there and, of course, me and Ryden are obviously sharing our page, and we're kind of working it together. But we follow a company on there. I don't even know where they're at. They're like in Arizona, and it's just so good to watch them. And I'm like, why are we even following? Like, why am I even watching this? This is a company we have no, have no connection with, but I can't stop watching their stuff. I mean, and that's just where we're at. Social media. I mean, it's even a company with one van, right? They go wrap it and you see it all over town. And it's just that one guy. I mean,
exactly.
Yep. But you'd never know that. And all of that is everyone's trying to give off this larger presence of professionalism than they had to do before in order to get attention from someone else.
Totally.
All right. So I was looking at your page today. So the whole gas valve thing, was that today or was that
the gas valve was today. Yeah, that was our little quick job this morning.
So when I was reading that, are y'all having some shortage issues on parts up there?
Yep, definitely.
Did I read that right?
Well, I mean, today's
wonder how that happened.
Yeah. Surprise. Today's shortage was a little different because I was looking for a 3/4 inch regulator, not a 1/2 inch. Although I will say we needed a 1/2 inch on Monday and we couldn't find one in the city at all. So,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, shortages have been crazy. And we were hit, like, not only by COVID, but we were hit in mid-December by a flood. And it basically isolated Vancouver from the rest of Canada by road or rail.
Oh, dang.
We had floods and mudslides, and most of our highways were destroyed. So that on top of the COVID stuff it's been tough. It's been, and we had
That's
heat
kinda
waves in
random.
summertime.
Jeez.
So we ordered condensing units in July that only showed up in October. It's been an interesting time.
Now,
For sure.
are y'all one brand specific, or do y'all kind of?
No, we go with whatever we can get.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. I mean,
Yeah, but no, we service a lot of different brands, like the major brands.
right.
So yeah, and some of their stuff has to be OEM, and yeah.
Now, what's a major brand in Canada that? I mean, I don't know how. I know most of the manufacturers from the U.S. Well, manufacturers that are in the U.S. but half of them don't manufacture here. But you know what I mean. The ones that you would know. Now, are there other names in Canada that are just Canadian specific brands that are like top tier that we never even heard of?
No, I don't think so. I mean, not off the top of my head, my measly little apprentice head. No, we
Yeah, because
like
you
we
were
get,
working on a Carrier, right?
yeah,
Was
yeah.
it a Carrier?
We get the major
Yeah.
brands like Carrier and Rheem and Rude and Lennox, and then all
Gosh,
the
she
little.
said rude properly.
Yeah, she did.
that.
Oh.
That's us. That's what we do.
Yeah, so we get all of them, and all the little spin-offs too, like American Standard and Payne and all that stuff.
And see, you understand that Payne and American Standard are spinoff, but you would be amazed at how many people I deal with on a daily basis have no clue.
Yeah.
I like the term spinoff for those. I've never thought about it that
I
way.
like it.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, speaking of gas valves, I remember, of course, like I said, we literally work in a branch. So I remember several months ago where we had to take what little gas valves we had.
Yeah, we had to go ration them out and hide them in the back.
Well, no, yeah, regulator. We had to put them in the back because
No.
we would have a guy come in that we've never seen before, had no account, and just go straight to it, right? Grab his 3/4 regulator and, can I get 20 of these? We're like, no.
Do you have a license?
No.
No. Okay.
Right, because he's just going, door to door, and we were trying to save those for our regular customers, and
Yeah.
it's just a crazy time right now with all that.
So crazy. Well, from one of our suppliers was still selling mini splits. Sorry, you could only buy a line set if you were buying a mini split. Like they weren't.
So they're holding them
Yeah,
hostage.
they
they
weren't
have to.
releasing them to anybody.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't just buy a line set off by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh shit.
Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, we've had situations like that. I'm in that boat right now with Flex. Which now, do you guys use a lot of Flex, or you do more hard pipe and insulation?
Mostly Flex. Yeah.
Are you R8 or are you a thicker R value?
That I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
probably
know.
R8. I
I
mean,
would think. I mean, I couldn't imagine trying to run Flex. It was like R10 or anything. Like it's a pain in the ass enough running R8.
Yeah. And then with the insulation over it as well, like that white insulation.
Yep. It was nice itchy white insulation. What are you using? Quiet Flex?
all right, so yeah, we don't want to get too technical on you, but we do have to ask if you've got any critter stories.
Ooh, yes.
Critter.
Good critter stories are always fun.
Like,
Well, I mean, I've seen the odd. What were you gonna say?
I don't know. I'm trying. We've got a couple episodes where I just laid into all the critter stories I've got, which in the South it's not good. There's too many. There's too many you come across.
I was like our second episode, we did nothing but tell critter stories for a freaking hour.
I mean, I got hours and hours of
That's
critter stories, but so yeah, what do you got? What do you got for critter stories?
I've come across a couple of fried mice and stuff. Definitely wasps. I've
Gosh.
never been stung by anything in my life until I've become an HVAC tech, and I've been stung by wasps like you wouldn't believe.
Well, there's so many spots for them to hide on the units.
Oh, I know. Then they're just there. But critters, I would say I have two. One involves a seagull.
Yes.
and the other one is a squirrel. But so I was warned by a few Instagram friends around this area about the seagulls in the summertime when it's nesting season. And I was like, cool, that's whatever, that sounds funny. And then I go onto the roof of a building that I've been servicing for quite some time, a couple of years already by myself. And I go up there and, oh, there's a seagull nest. How cool is that? And out of
I don't even know
nowhere,
what a seagull nest looks like.
it's kind of a mess, and the babies are gross. They're hideous. But it's interesting. I mean, I've never seen one before, so cool. Yeah, the seagulls came in full force. And in the beginning, it was kind of funny. Like, I can't believe this is happening. And then maybe 5 minutes into it, I was like terrified for my life.
Did you get the phone out? Did you get anything?
I tried. I tried, but I was also like trying to survive. I was very scared, and so I was waving filters around, and yeah. So when I posted about that, somebody commented, and they were like, "You should keep bread in your pockets," and I was like, "Not going to do that, but thanks for the advice."
Or Alka-Seltzer. Gosh, don't do that.
Yeah, no.
I know.
So yeah, so
PETA's going to come on here and shut us down after I said that.
Just bring Randy Johnson.
So
we can
I
take care of
actually, somebody I heard last week, somebody told me you're not even supposed to feed bread to ducks.
oh really?
It's apparently bad for them too.
Oh, we love.
Think
doing
about that growing up. My mom's like,
No
take some
kidding.
bread, feed the ducks, you know.
It's fun. Okay, good to know. But honestly,
So-
the seagulls can have the bread. They can.
Okay.
It's very mean, but I don't care for them.
Yeah, no, we're not you can't carry bread around
No.
in your tool
Not
bag.
happening. So yeah. Oh, and then another one was a recent one was a squirrel. We've been working on this building. It's got 4 split units, and none of them are communicating. Just none of them are communicating. And so we finally opened up the wall a little bit, and a squirrel had found its way in there and eaten everything that it could.
Oh, I seen that one.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
probably saw that on my
Seen
TikTok. I made a TikTok about that because I
Yep.
was like, "Are you kidding me?" it even ate its way through the drywall in the ceiling. It's a closed ceiling, and it,
I haven't seen this one.
yeah. Oh,
Have to
look
go
for it.
grab
It's a good one.
Yeah, I mean they
it
just
ate everything.
yeah, squirrels.
And I like
are
squirrels. I
terrible,
think
but-
squirrel. If I could have a squirrel as a pet, I would do that in a heartbeat because they're so cute. But now every time I go to that building and I see a squirrel outside, I'm like, "Don't you dare! Don't you
I've heard
even!"
they make pretty good pets if you get them small enough. I mean,
Oh, I want one.
I've been seeing. I go down the rabbit hole on TikTok and people that have raccoon for pets.
Oh, I
Those
know.
are kind of cool.
Well, those little tiny fingers. Oh my god.
Yep. So,
So what? Oh, I was gonna say.
well, you're no. She may not have listened. I mean, she probably hadn't heard this episode. But when Ryden was a tech and went to a call. This is probably the worst critter story I've ever heard as an HVAC. So,
you tell it. I'll
let's
finish.
just picture a mobile home, right? You walk up, you go in. It's raised up. Are you familiar with a mobile home type
Yes.
modular home? Okay.
Yeah.
So he goes in, he opens the door, and he can smell like, it smells like a farm, right? It's that smell of a barn,
But the house is pristine.
nice and clean.
Oh.
So he goes down the hall. The house is the unit's not keeping up, right? It's pulling in too much hot air from somewhere. So Ryden opens this door to this room, and they've got the floor cut out, and there's pigs on the ground
What?
in the room.
They're living in
I
the
know.
room and they can go out of the house because they go out under the wall
Underneath.
outside, and then they come back in the house.
I mean, I can't
And, they,
even wrap
and they're
my
like, "Well,
mind
they were
around
getting
that.
cold." I was like, "Really?"
What?
I mean, what if? So this is what you got to look
Unreal.
forward to. Like,
Oh, fun. But look at the cool story you get out of it.
that is a
Yeah.
cool story. Yeah, it's better than a
That's a
cubicle.
weird one. But
Yeah, there's like 6 or 7 full-grown pigs just hanging out in the house.
That's so
um,
weird.
Yeah, he told that story on the show, and he didn't even build it up. It was just like his normal thing. Like, right,
So this
that's
happened.
not.
It's like I guess I didn't realize just how weird it was.
No, that was really weird. Like,
Yeah. That's weird.
all right. So what are you? Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said, do you have to go back? Did you ever have to go back?
No, thank God.
Okay.
I think I ended up doing the call, and then I think Dad and one of the other guys went and dealt with whatever the problem was.
Did you sell them a UV light or anything?
Man, that
Air
was
scrubber.
at the time that I didn't even realize what IAQ was because nobody cared about it.
No, you were
I was
not going to sell
probably-
them anything IAQ.
Dude, I was probably 17. I didn't have a clue.
So I think that's another cool thing about HVAC, right? Is different parts of the country. Well, from state to state, it is so different.
Dude, like
Not to mention
2 hours
country to
away
country.
from places like or like Hickory. Hickory's an hour from us, and the standard install materials list is night and day with what guys buy out of that store versus what they buy out of our store. It's crazy.
Now, do you
Interesting.
some of the so you're supply and return plenums, right? Do y'all insulate on the inside or the outside? Like, do you wrap it or is it already inside?
It's
like,
usually
lined?
inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in Georgia, like everything I did split unit wise when I did install, we built the plenums right in the driveway, and then you bang them together, screw it together, tape it, and then we had to wrap the plenums with duck wrap. Then you cut the holes out, put your collars on. Like, I moved to, North Carolina, and I mean, I'm 4 hours away. And literally the first job I went on, it didn't look anything like I learned on.
Oh, no.
I was like, what in the world? So everything here is lined on the inside, even the supply plenums.
Okay.
So the first job I went on, I'm like, holy cow, they didn't even insulate this thing. What the heck? So yeah, I just think it's interesting. That's why I love having, people like you on the show to kind of see what the differences is, around the world, around the country.
Yeah.
So what do you think the hardest part you've had to change is? Like, service wise, like what is the one you dread the most? Have you had to do a reversing valve or?
Luckily, not yet. I haven't done a reversing valve or.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, so I'm still an apprentice, so I don't get trusted with a lot of major repairs and stuff like that just yet. My dad is
Like
very
with the torches.
No, not quite yet.
Okay.
I need to do more practice before I'm actually doing brazing on like an actual customer's thing. If you know what I mean.
That's good though. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like the whole learning process for you is, like you're so lucky to have that because I mean, here you just get thrown. I feel like you just get thrown into it.
Well, and I think that's no good for A, the apprentice, or B, the company that's throwing them in there. Because,
No, it's not.
It's
or the
just bad
homeowner.
for everybody. It's not a good situation. And I am very lucky. My dad, I sometimes feel like he's just babying me. Like, why is it? But I'm very grateful the way that he's doing it. So, but back to your point, I had to replace a blower motor the other day, and I just had a sleepless night about it because, what if the blade doesn't come off the shaft? And at least I'm like, I've got to be able to do this by myself. And I went in and everything went really smoothly. And I just felt like a rock star. And suddenly I'm like invincible. All my doubts have disappeared until the next day.
Right. Yeah.
But usually I go into every job just quite nervous and just worried, and then I come out of it victorious.
Well, that's good though. That means you care. Like I said, I remember commenting on that. I was like, hey, you know what? If you lost sleep over it, that's a good start. It means you care. I mean, I still, a guy will call me and he's working on a unit, right? I'm sitting at my desk, like I'm not on the hook for this thing. For once in my life, like I'm not on the hook. He's working on a unit that he didn't even buy from us, but he's a customer, right? And it's a Rooter Ream product. So, I'm just like, all right, let's fix this thing, right? So we go through the wiring and we can't get it fixed. And, he's like, all right, well, I'll be back tomorrow. And I will literally lose sleep over that. I'm like, what is going on with this thing? Like, I want to go out there and see it in person, but, but maybe it's not something we sold to him. So I can't essentially go out there, but, yeah, I mean, it's good that you have that. I know it's not good to lose sleep, but that means you care and you're thinking about it, right? And
yeah. But I also feel like there's a two-layer factor for me is that I am an apprentice, so I want to prove myself that I can do this. But also as a woman, I also want to prove that I can do the thing by myself.
Right.
And sometimes that is a worry. Sometimes my physical strength is a concern. But like I've been saying the last little while, my message has been, I think women underestimate how strong they can be. And they're like, they think that they can't do that. And then they give it a try and they're like, oh, I can actually do that. Okay, cool. So.
Well, and Dennis and I talked about the two, we've got such respect for a lot of women that have been in this industry a lot longer that get zero credit for how long they've put up with all the crap that you have to deal with to be a woman in this industry. It's not easy, and it's not for everybody.
For sure.
The person we gave our gag gift to the other day, she's our inside sales lady, and I don't know what I would do without her. Mm-hmm. Like, Terry saves my ass on a daily basis with customers or helping me get other things done.
Yeah.
And I mean, it blows my mind what she deals with on a day-to-day basis, having to deal with it. And I couldn't imagine having to try to do that in the field too at the same time, or doing different things when you've got every other person looking at you like, oh, you can't do this.
Yeah.
Oh, Terry being in this industry, 20 years, like, she don't take no shit.
Mm-hmm.
No.
You can't. Like, being in this industry as a female, as far back as, I mean, she got out of high school and went straight into this on the distribution side. And, I mean.
And she's an institution in Charlotte. Like, just about everybody, whether you buy from us or not, at some point, they know who Terry is.
You know Terry.
Right.
That's so awesome. Well, beer number 2.
That is not kombucha.
No, it is not.
So how do you bottle yours? Like, what do you like to drink it out of?
My kombucha?
Yeah.
So because I was
Yes.
because I was drinking so much kombucha, I was saving all the bottles that I was purchasing, and I reused them all. I still have them. But yes, glass. Kombucha likes glass.
Okay.
And when you're brewing it, it has to sit in these large glass vessels.
Now, does it matter if it's dark or clear?
It doesn't. It does
I know
matter,
some
actually.
beers matter. They're kind of picky on that, but
yeah. No, I had mine in 2 large clear glass vessels, and I just put them in a dark room. It's got to be dark and warm, so that the yeast can do its thing.
Oh, so it's backwards from.
Yeah, we don't want to keep it cold.
No cool place, right?
No.
Okay.
Because then, the kombucha, the bacteria and yeast just won't eat. They won't get excited.
Yeah, I drank it for a few weeks, and I was like, man, I just feel great drinking this. I don't know.
It's good for your guts.
And I don't know what happened. It's like that's right. The guy quit, and I didn't have a line there.
That's been like our most common thing to say about employees this year is that guy quit. Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Not yay. It's just the sarcastic yay.
Oh, God.
Again.
Yeah, another one. Yeah. That's tough.
So I did listen to I was listening to a podcast the other day, and you were on their show. I can't remember the name. I think it was it's the blue collar, white collar.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Blue is the new white.
There you go. Mm-hmm. And you said something that I did want to kind of reiterate is you kind of went down the road of this is not for everyone, right? You were like, oh, this is so cool, and I want to jump into this. And then whether you're male or female, right? You go into an attic and it's 140 degrees. Well, in the South, or well, anywhere. But yeah, I don't know if you want to touch on that a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? Like my daughter, right? Seeing your Instagram, it's like, oh man, this is great. But there is a realistic side to this
Absolutely.
industry.
Yeah, I would say my message has changed over the last few years. And when I first started out and I was first doing some interviews and stuff, everyone give it a try. Everyone give the trades a try. And now, 3 years into it, I'm like, it's tough. And I think if you want to have a good idea of, like, a good sense of the trades, follow somebody like on Instagram or something like that keeps it real, because it's an emotional roller coaster. Some days, like I was saying about that blower motor, some days it defeats you and you're like, how am I ever going to do this? How am I ever going to know this through and through? And some days you feel like a rock star, like you're on top of the world, you can do anything at all. But I feel like almost every day is a challenge. Every job is a challenge. And you got to overcome some fears. And for example, climbing ladders in the beginning, for me, that was a really tough thing for me to get over. And I'm very grateful that I work with my dad and my brother, and I can tell them how scared I am. And honestly, like literally hold my dad's hand. And so now, 3 years in, I can do a ladder, no problem. But it definitely, or scissor lifts. Oh my goodness, scissor lifts are so scary. But you got to do it, and that's part of the job. Standing at the very top of a ladder, you're on the second to the top rung, and you got nothing to hold on, and you got to take a panel off of a unit. It's scary.
Yeah.
But you get it done, and then you're like, okay, what else? What else you got?
Well, I think it's great in the situation that you're in, right? It sounds like your dad and your brother, like you got this awesome safety net for sure. Mm-hmm. And not everybody has that, right? It's just, it is what it is. You get thrown. I mean, I got thrown into this, went to work for a guy. He was by himself and he's like, I need to hire you right out of school. Okay. Mm-hmm. Puts me in a van. It's like you start running calls. I'm like, what?
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about losing sleep, right?
It's like, yeah.
But that's like the norm around here. And
maybe that's what's driving your employees away. Not yours,
is.
But
I'm
maybe you're scaring them off.
Well, you talk about, one of your big, hurdles was, as in the office, you didn't understand the terminology. Mm-hmm. Well, for us to hire a counter person, most of the time you're bringing them in and they were doing, they were doing something else. They weren't doing HVAC. This guy might have worked at, for example, he might have been working his way through school, working at McDonald's, and now he's getting out and he's trying to get into a corporate industry. Yeah. Well, an inside sales position kind of gets you a foot in the door, but it's not crazy money. But you go in here and all of a sudden you've got these contractors calling you and they're cussing you 6 ways to Sunday because you don't know what a TXV is. Yeah, when you're just now learning how to answer a phone. Yeah. And it'll run guys off real quick. You've got to have thick skin to deal with it. Absolutely. I was lucky that I grew up in a business learning a lot of it, but there's still a lot I didn't learn because the majority of the time that I worked with Dad's business was in the summer. So I ran install crews from 13 to 18 because that's where I was useful. Yeah. Now, getting guys in their 30s and 40s to listen to you as a teenager was not easy.
I can imagine. Yep.
But, I never did a ton of service. So even when I went to distribution, it took me a little bit of time to really understand parts more than I did before.
And it's so great that so many parts have this, like, different names for the same thing.
That's always the real fun part.
Yeah, that doesn't confuse you at all. Not at all.
Oh, that's good. That's some good stuff. Like, what do you call I'll call it a flat back sticky collar, like on ductwork. Okay. But do you guys even use anything like that? Or do you use like tab collars? Or what do you guys use? Or what do you call them?
We have SN drives.
So you're doing S-lock and drive for putting square duct together, correct?
Okay, yeah.
So if you're cutting a round hole and using a takeoff, what do you guys use for that? Like to go to flex, what do you call that?
I don't even know.
Just a collar?
Yeah, just a collar. Like a,
Okay.
Do you peel off and stick it on there, or do you have to screw it on there?
Or
usually
both.
screw it on, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
See?
Luckily for
So
me,
much different stuff.
always different stuff. But luckily for me, well, maybe not luckily, I'm not sure. We at our company, we don't do a lot of duct work at all. We
Yeah,
always,
I noticed you just do a lot of
always,
service. Which
subcontract that out. So,
there you go.
but I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. I see people doing their thing, and I'm like, wow, that looks amazing. I want to be able to do that.
It
Well,
is
you
pretty
will.
cool to
I
be
mean-
able to learn how to bend metal stuff.
Yeah. But then on
Always.
the other side of things, I'm really lucky that I get exposed to such a variety of equipment, like refrigeration and air conditioning equipment. So I feel very lucky that.
I have noticed that. Yeah, you guys are in everything, which I would love that.
Do you
I
do
mean,
a lot of boilers at all? I haven't.
No boilers at all. No.
I was wondering
no.
about that because I hadn't really seen you work on any.
Yeah. No, so my dad really specializes in refrigeration. And so we
Okay.
don't touch anything water related unless it's like a water source heat pump or something like that, which still has refrigeration in it.
Yep.
But yeah, no boilers, no water tanks, nothing like that.
so how many water source heat pumps do you come across? Is that like a condo thing, or when do you normally see those?
So we have one particular office building that has hundreds of them.
Are they hanging above the ceiling?
Yeah,
or-
yeah, they're all hanging by
I
threaded
hated
rods.
working
And
on
oh,
those.
don't even get me started.
Oh, I
Yeah.
hate. So Atlanta, all the high rises in Atlanta have those, and I'm in this guy's $10 million freaking penthouse, and I'm up above the ceiling, and I can't get to nothing.
Yep.
And this, it's just it took me 2 hours to get up there, to check in and park and get in the elevator and go up there. Oh, I didn't have my ladder. Oh, I got to go back down. I mean, it's just
That's
a
30
nightmare.
minutes right
Like,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a 1-day service call.
But I think
Yeah,
there's-
those are
having
fun.
said that, though, that's also the disconnect between the office and the field techs, right? Like you go and do a job, and why does it take you 2 hours? Well, you had no idea that you got to lug all of your equipment and supplies onto the roof and then walk it across, which is like 10 minutes. Then you get to do your actual job, and then you get to lug it all back across and down. It's like, it's crazy.
Well-
And then you forget your whatever back in the truck. Oh, crap. Now you got to do that whole walk again.
So, what is the structure at you guys' with y'all three? Like, what's the structure? Who lays out? You gotta somebody takes the calls and sets it up, or
So Dad still runs the show in like a full-time way.
right?
I joke because he's 66 now, and we're sort of pushing him towards retirement, but he's not going there,
Good luck with
he's
that. My
he's
dad's
got like
80 and
20
he
years
won't.
left.
which is fine. When I first started, I wanted him to like shove off, and I wanted, it's my turn. I'm here now. But having worked with him for 3 years now, I'm like, please don't ever leave us. We need your brain and your expertise. And yeah, so he still runs the show. He'll still answer the phones and schedule everything. And yeah, and then my brother.
Wow, okay.
He's full on.
Is your dad in the field at all?
Yes, 100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So between us three, we have 2 work vans. And so depending on who needs the help, I'll go help my brother that day or my dad that day. Or if we're all feeling very adventurous, they'll send me off on my own. Well, I can handle most of like just regular maintenance calls now. So they send me off to do those and a few minor repairs. But yeah, Dad's
Like if your
running
brother will diagnose something and then send you back behind him, maybe.
Yep, for
Okay.
sure. For sure. But what I want more experience in is diagnosing, troubleshooting. Because one day Dad's
Right.
not going to be here, and I feel like I need to fill those shoes.
Yeah, but you're
That's what
learning
I
such a
miss.
good.
That's what I
You're
miss.
learning all the
Too.
components, and
Yeah.
you're learning. You're going to have such a good base that troubleshooting is not going to be. So when I have class, I tell guys like, look, because I'll have like a bunch of little 20-year-old kids staring at me, which I'm 39, but they're kids, whatever. And I'm like, look, you need to know what it is and how it works before we can start troubleshooting. They just want to jump right in there.
Yeah. Fix it.
And that's cool, but you know,
What is it you say, Dennis?
Stuff out.
I said, just fix it.
A lot.
Yeah, we do get
yeah.
lucky a lot in this industry because we're just like, oh, last time I had these pressures, it was like, you know, it was going out on high head pressure and I changed the TXV and it fixed it. And so the next time you have that pressure, you're like, oh, it's the TXV.
Totally.
And you change it and it doesn't fix it. Yeah. And you're like, oh, shit. Yeah, well, you should have diagnosed it to start with. Like, instead, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
don't change parts on experience from your last call. Yeah. They're all new calls. They're all brand new call, and you diagnose it from the jump, you know?
Absolutely.
And it's so hard to get people to think of things that way.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't either, you know, like I said, I was thrown into it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like now that now that you're in that position, we always try to push to get guys to see things that way now. And it's just takes time.
Well, the way she's learning is just the way it should be, right? Which is the whole idea with going to school here is you learn all the components, you learn what they do, you learn how they work. So troubleshooting just kind of falls in there.
Because you understand the
right.
Yeah.
This isn't working because it doesn't have voltage
right now.
So what do you like to do? You find yourself going home watching like YouTube stuff?
Yeah,
I feel like that's a great tool.
Yes.
Somewhat.
Especially when I'm at school. While I'm not at school, I do try to watch them here and there. But when I'm at school, I'm watching YouTubes constantly because I find that you can watch the same concept be explained by different people in different ways, and then just one little thing that they say clicks, or okay,
that's it.
You can read it over and over again, but you just hear it in a certain way, and it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, lots of YouTubes, and there's so many resources out there for us. Like there's so many webinars and training things that you can sign up for, and I just always think now, like I just don't have enough time in my day with everything. Like I'm trying to learn this trade. I'm still doing all of the admin and bookkeeping. I'm doing social media, which is like a full-time thing on its own. But it's all really fun. I'm loving it all.
So I was going to say, so you, from the field you used to be in, so you came on and took right over the books, huh? Mm-hmm. They kind of threw you into that.
Yeah. Well, that was where my expertise lay. Like that's where my skills were. And yeah, I did enjoy that for the time that I was doing that, but now I'd like to hand it off to someone else. And I'll get there. But.
Well, cool. It sounds like you're on the right track, and you sounds like you're having a good time. You don't sound too bummed out about it.
No, I'm happy. I'm excited for next year. Next year's got lots of opportunities and cool things are coming up.
Yeah, hopefully we can get rid of this shortage thing.
Yeah.
The equipment side is looking pretty good. From what I don't know if riding,
it's getting there.
Materials is not doing so well though.
Yeah, I've got two guys that I'm actually in the middle of trying to get price negotiation done because we're pretty much in good enough shape now, and honestly, especially the last 3 weeks with it, it's been between 60 and 70 in December. It's been slow as hell. So
yeah,
we're in a position that we can, for the first time in about, I don't know, probably 12 months, I can actually look at maybe bringing one or two guys on that are, small to medium sized customers. It's a hard thing when your job is to go out and make sure everybody gets what they need on a day-to-day basis to do their job.
Yeah.
And you've spent the last 24 months with everyone but you dictating your paycheck and what you can do. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It's crazy.
We'll get some materials coming for everybody. After talking to you, it sounds like it's worldwide here, obviously. Yeah.
Different day, different shortage.
all the gas valves are on a container ship.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Send them to us. We need them.
Yeah, we definitely don't need them here right now.
No, we need TXVs right now, actually. We can use some of those. I discovered that on a few today.
Oh.
Well, cool. Thanks for coming on the show. Is there anything else you want to throw in there? Any advice for some new?
That, and I was going to say, do you
Yeah.
want to say anything about women in HVAC too? I know you're part of that in Canada.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I guess what I will say is I think it's really important that if you are in the trade, in the HVAC, especially if you are a woman and you are doing your thing, I think it's really important to show others what you're doing, like put yourself out there. One of my favorite quotes is, "You can't be what you can't see." And
Right.
so that's really the reason why I post on my Instagram almost every day, is because I want to be seen. Because I really think that, like your daughter, Kylie.
Oh yeah, she's
Yeah.
going to be an HVAC now.
There you go.
HVAC
And maybe
Jess
she would
set her
never.
right up.
Well, maybe she had never even considered that. Maybe she wouldn't even know what maybe because of
Right,
her
that's
dad
the
is.
thing.
But how would she even know what HVAC is?
Right.
It's confusing and a weird concept. So yeah.
No, the trades aren't out there to see.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like.
No,
Still.
and that's a lot of the problem.
Yeah. But I really think Instagram or social media is changing that. Technicians are becoming more proud of what they do, and they want to show off their craft and their workmanship. Yep. And I think that's great. I think that's just benefiting the industry.
Oh, and I think it does hugely, because a lot of guys, they just go in there and they throw it in. They don't care. It works. That's great. Mm-hmm. But, if I were a homeowner, I would want it to look like you at least wanted it to go in clean.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you can.
Oh, some of these guys on Instagram,
man.
These installs, I'm like, oh man. I don't know. I guess I used to take a lot of pride in my install and really clean, and I would like clean up like half the yard just so my outdoor unit would look good. I'm like cutting bushes down, right? I mean, and I didn't take any pictures of that though. Like it just wasn't.
It wasn't.
You know what I mean?
Yet.
Yeah, it just wasn't a thing. I'm like, dang, I wish I would have. Yeah, we just did it, and we're like, yep, that looks great, and then we did another one the next day, right? I mean,
well, that and the pictures that we did take, when you look at them now, you're like, God, what did I take that on, a Polaroid?
Yeah, a flip phone, a BlackBerry.
Yeah. Well, that's what's so great about our new phones now. Like, I've got a Pixel phone, and it'll give me memories of 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. You were doing this. Oh yeah,
right.
That's awesome. And I love it. I have so many photos. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm actually paying for cloud storage
so
now.
Am
I didn't think I'd ever do that. I just knew I'd never do that.
Thank you, Dropbox.
Yeah.
All these like thumb drives I got laying around. I got like 1 million terabytes, and I'm paying for. But see, if it's on that, I can't get to it. Like,
exactly.
It's got to be on my phone.
Who walks around with a flash drive anymore? It's
right.
all on your phone.
So cool. Yeah. Thanks for being on the show, and hopefully we'll see you in Vegas.
Yes.
We're still looking for another guest for our.
Yes, we are. We have 2 spots. We have one open.
Oh, well.
So if you're floating around, I may hit you up.
If you're interested, on Tuesday, what is it? I think 11 to 12 on Tuesday is open.
Okay. I will get back to you on that. I think I would love to do that.
Yeah, but we got this will be our first time doing the I don't know if you've seen the pavilion. I've never seen that. The last time I was at AHR, they didn't have it. So
nope, it wasn't there yet.
Podcast pavilion, we're up on stage and it's out loud,
fun.
so people just walk in and we're podcasting and.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, bring some kombucha. We'll cheers it up there.
Oh man, it's gonna be such a fun time if it all goes through. Oh my goodness, it's gonna be a party and a half.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. AHR is so.
Well, and just all these friends I've made over the last couple of years. Wear good shoes. I'm planning on wearing my steel toes. They're the comfiest shoes I have.
Oh yeah, that's true. Of course, you
really
rep some. I was gonna say, don't you rep some boots?
I do. Timberland Pro, baby.
Nice. Okay.
And I honestly, I have boots that I work in, and then I've got weekend boots that are steel toes because they're just so comfortable. Yeah. And I live in my Helly Hansen and my Timberland. I'm a true rep.
No, you got to have the right gear up
I
there
live in it.
for sure. I've never worked in 10 below, so I can't say. You definitely got to have gear for that.
I've never worked when you said it warmed up to 10 below.
No.
That happened.
No, thank you.
That happened.
No,
this week.
we shut the whole state down for some weather like that.
Yeah. It's not fun to work in. On Monday, it was minus 15 degrees Celsius, which I guess is about 15 degrees Fahrenheit, I think. And by the time we got back to the truck, I had gloves on, but my hands were burning, like painful burning. I was like, this is crazy. Is this what frostbite feels like? My brother just laughs like, please, it's not that bad.
So is he running the camera sometimes for you on some of your stuff?
Very, very rarely. Very rarely.
Okay.
Put that thing down. We got work to do.
I was gonna say, is he cool with that or?
He's okay with it, and my dad is getting better at it as well. Especially now that I'm starting to I'm sponsored by certain companies now. We're getting free things, and he quite likes that.
He quite likes that.
He quite likes that. But my brother is my dad too. Terrible, terrible cameraman. So only if I'm in really dire straits and I'm like, can you just take this picture for me? Can you take just 12 just in case? Okay. And then I'll pick one that's kind of okay. I'm very particular.
Oh yeah, you got to be ready to post it.
And I've gotten very good at taking selfies. Selfies are a skill, I think. And I have gotten that skill down.
Well, cool. I'm looking forward to seeing some more stuff. So everybody go on Instagram and follow HVAC Jess.
Thank you.
And watch her trials and tribulations. Keep up the good work, and let us know if you want to record live in Vegas, and we'll throw you on there.
Awesome. That sounds fun.
We appreciate it, Jess. It's been fun to get to talk to you.
Well, thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. It was a great chat, and I'm just about to have my last sip of kombucha right now, so perfect timing.
Nice.
Well, hey,
all right. Well, have a good night.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, come on.
Man, that was a good time. I'm glad she came on the show.
I am too. Yeah, she's pumped. I wish half the texts I talked to were as excited as she is about doing this. She's got a nice, and she'll tell you this too. She's got a nice safety net.
Yep.
But there's companies out there that offer that, and you should head in that direction, right? If you feel like you're going down the wrong track, wrong path, larger company. Here, it has to be a larger company, I say. I know our buddy Zach, his company is not as large, but they're doing the same thing, right? If you're not ready, you're not ready.
That's
but
it.
That doesn't mean you can't be in the industry. I feel like some of these guys come into my office and they're like, man, I just can't find good help out there. They literally want to hire you and put you in a van and you're good to go.
Yep.
But they want you to be young and eager. It's like, look, man, you're not getting both. So yeah, what you want to hit on some recaps? I mean, this is like the longest show we've ever had. We're crushing.
I know. I'm glad that you didn't hit end and we have to try to pick it back up.
I did that last time.
I was like, don't do it. No. That's what I was like. And then here a minute ago, I was like, no, just keep going. Yeah, I thought we'd run through our top 5 episodes and see if there's anything you wanted to say about it real quick. Because when this posts, we'll have just announced what number 1 was, so I can talk about it now because you're already going to know it. So number 5 so far episode all time was Making Millions in HVAC.
Oh, the clickbait.
Number 4 was Spring into HVAC accessories.
Excellent. Oh, accessories. Yeah, I like talking about. Yep.
Number 3 was HVAC myths.
I feel like that we need to do a number 2 on that.
I think we do.
There's so many.
Yeah, we got a lot more to do on
I meant to ask her about accessories, but it's just a different kind of business setup she's in.
Yeah. Especially when being so much refrigeration.
Yeah, it's just fix it. Fix it, Felix. I could crush that.
Yeah. Let's see. Number 2. Episode 19, Balder Bush.
Balder Bush. Probably a little bit of clickbait there, too.
A little clickbait there. The photo for tomorrow that announces that one is pretty funny.
Oh, God.
And then number 1 all time, Fancy Like. Thank you, clickbait. Thank you.
Clickbait. Yeah, so our first episode of 2022 is going to be whatever the newest song is out.
Yes.
It's probably still Fancy Like.
Who knows? But then I felt like I had to bring in some honorable mentions because I still love Headed to the Beer Store. And it was close. It was top 10. Reefer Talk at a Hotel Bar. That was great.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
That was a really cool one.
God, me and that guy just went on and on. I mean, what are the chances of that?
I know.
Sit down at the bar, out of town, and what was that compressor company he worked for? It was starts with an H.
Dadgummit. I can't even think of it now either.
Jeez. Anyway, yeah, what are the chances of that? Him sitting there, I'm like, what do you do? Oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, Jesus, here we go.
Yep.
And it's on.
It's kind of like this.
Oh. So I can't do that tonight because I'm pouring Willet. I can't get a good soundbite here.
I got you.
Ryan's counting down his top 5.
Counting down the top 5.
You cracked that like 3 times, and she's like, "I've just got my bottle of kombucha.
I got my kombucha. It's great."
That's so cool. She was drinking that.
Oh man!
And she makes her own. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, she got into that. I'm like, oh shit, I don't know nothing about it. She's killing it. I was close. It is they get the cultures and the mother and all that.
Yeah.
All right, so she could possibly be a guest.
Yeah. We've already got Lucas from 5 to 6 later in that day. So starting the day off with Jess, that might be good. That's right. Right at lunchtime.
Anybody I know is not going to record with us at 8:00 in the morning.
No, probably not.
Hopefully we get to go, man. It's
I know.
I keep getting emails from the school about the South Carolina and the spread, and it's just.
Well, what's so funny is
now all these symptoms these people that I know, the symptoms are all mild now.
Every symptom that exists is a COVID symptom. So good luck figuring that out.
Yeah.
But I just read another article yesterday that I'm trying to remember where it was from, but it was saying that it's actually nowhere near as prevalent as the CDC actually thought. But it's like, well, which one is it? Because, the other thing that's interesting is they keep telling us how crazy it is, but if you notice that they don't tell you numbers of cases at all anymore. When there for a while, they were shoving how many cases it was a day up your every orifice you had to make sure you knew about it. Well, now they don't list that at all.
Well, so the few people that my brother just had it, and he's in no shape to have it, right? He's not a poster of health here, but of course he's vaccinated. I think he might have had a booster, maybe, but he's 47, 46. He sounded like he had a cold. I was talking to him on the phone, had the sniffles, and that's pretty much been the last 2 or 3 people I've talked to. So it's kind of, sounds like to me it's kind of moving towards somewhat like flu and cold and flu season. I mean, but I don't know. You know, there's still people out there that are losing people. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to. So yeah, so we got our meet and greet sessions out there, and also Casino Quest. So we're gonna be throwing some dice. I got to start practicing up on that. I went down a wormhole the other day and started playing solitaire on my phone. I forgot how much I like solitaire.
God, I can't think the last time I played solitaire. I used to all the time.
So something popped up on my phone. It was like, you can make money playing solitaire. I'm like, dang, really? Downloaded the app, and it's like, you know, throw some money in here, throw $5 in there, and you get in a tournament, and you can win $70. And I clicked on it, and I'm like, sure, I'll play. Not in this state. Yeah, I'm like, well, this can't. It's too easy, right? This is too good to be true. Can I really play solitaire for money? No, not in South Carolina.
Oh Lord,
it's like hilarious. Turn on your location. I turned it on. It's like you can't do that here. God.
Freaking man, always keeping us down.
Hey,
now speaking of gaming, I heard a radio ad for the casino, the new local casino, saying that they saying that they had digital table games now.
Oh, so there's 500 more.
But is it 500 more slots, or is it actual? Digital table games. Like, did they ever get a freaking bubble craps or something?
Well, there's one way to find out.
Well, that is true.
We need to go. So my mother-in-law calls me like 2 days before Christmas Eve. I'm down here wrapping presents. She's like, it was probably 9:00 at night. She's like, hey, you want to run over to Kings Mountain with me? I'm like, no.
Yes.
She's like, come on. I'm like, it's 9:00 at night. She's like, yeah, but they got 500 more games. I'm like, I don't want to play slots. She's like, yeah, but I do, and I need somebody to go with me. I'm like, no. So I didn't go. She was pissed, but she found somebody else to go. So yeah, I'm going to ask her. I don't know if she'll remember what's in there, but I'll text her tomorrow and see. Yeah, like digital craps or something. God, yes. I'm in there. We need to go soon. We just need to make a walkthrough, see what they got. We'll do a couple live Instagram something. All right, you got anything else?
Oh man, we got one more day. Tomorrow, and then we're closed on the 31st.
Yep.
You know, it's been crazy that we've done this for over a year now.
Well, and I think it's crazy that we had some guests on here. We got HVAC Jess, who's, got an awesome story, and just the fact that we had a chick on here from British Columbia that's a HVAC tech is
I still want to know. I still want to know how they got from South Africa to British Columbia.
Yeah, she didn't want to get into that. It was probably a rough trip.
Good Lord. I hated moving like 5 miles. I can't imagine. That's probably like 15,000.
Yeah, you don't move that far. You just drive that far and your shit just shows up.
Hey, you know what? But all I know is that I know that people that are from South Africa seem to have a great have happened to have a great reputation everywhere. I remember when I went to the Middle East, and my cousin said, if you ever get in trouble, tell them you're from South Africa. I'm like, okay. I was like, that's not going to work out if they take me to that embassy, but sure.
No. Yeah, so thanks everybody for listening this year. We got more guests to come, and
we do. Maybe excited. We get to knock our first state off the list next week.
And if you've not noticed, our guests, we kind of take them down a different rat hole, right? I mean, a lot of BS, a little bit of HVAC.
Hey, HVAC beer bullshit. Right here on HVAC R&D. What's your static?
What's your static? Still love that.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great new year, and we will see you very, very soon.
See y'all.
Peace.